Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be my Q1 TBR. It's not as ambitious as last year, and I'm not entirely sure why I decided to only do um, really like 4 books a month is really kind of what I'm looking at. But part of me feels like I'm going to be extra busy this year. So I decided to not like pressure myself as much, but also I want to read more of like what feels good, I guess, or what kind of like when I look at the title. So this is what I am currently wanting to read. I'm not saying it's going to stay this way. It'll depend on, I guess, my mood and kind of what I feel like I want to read. But without further ado, let's get started. So the first book on my Q1 TBR is Legendary by Stephanie Garber, and this is the second book in her Caraval series. I've actually started this. I'm only a couple chapters in though, so I'm hoping I can get some more reading done today, because today is New Year's Day and there's going to be lots of football on. So hoping to read and watch football at the same time. The first one in the series was super good. It follows 2 sisters, and really in the first book, it follows one sister, Scarlet, more than the other sister, Donatella, but they call her Tella. They have a very abusive father. Scarlet is engaged to a man she has never met, and her sister, Tella, wants to try to basically save both of them. So ultimately, her and her sister Scarlet go to Legend's private island for Caraval. Caraval is a magical event that takes place once a year, and it has a different theme every year. So it's pretty interesting. I really did enjoy the first one, and now I'm in the second one, and the second one I believe is following more of Donatella, and kind of her route through like what's going on. And I won't spoil anything just because this is the second book, but so far I'm very intrigued by it. And yeah, I'm super excited to see where this goes. The next book is a nonfiction book, and I'm reading this currently as well, and it's Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. So Ina May is a midwife, and so basically this is like the first part is all birth stories. And then the second part is, I guess, talking about natural birth and different ways and whatever. And I'm not pregnant by any means. But I've always been kind of scared of childbirth. And my husband and I are wanting kids someday. So I'm kind of trying to get all the information that I can. And I'd like to see kind of like the midwife's perspective. I also have a friend who is about to have a baby, and she's going the route of a midwife and a home birth. So I want to educate myself and figure out with different books and different articles that I've been trying to read, what will be best for me when that time comes. So we'll see. But yeah, so far I'm not too far in this. I'm on page 39, and and I'm just in the birth stories right now. So all of them have been really positive, which is nice. because I feel like all I've seen on the internet is negative. So yeah, so I'm excited to continue to read this and learn. Then the next book is Finale, and this is the final book in the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. I just have decided that I'm going to marathon these, and it's partly because I really enjoyed the first one. These are YA, so I kind of like that. Sometimes it's nice to go back to YA books, especially when they have a romance plot, like whether it's a plot or a subplot. I really like that because it's not adult, and I feel like in YA you get a little bit more of the angst feel. So yeah, I plan to finish the Caraval series in Q1. Then I'm going to go back to Brandon Sanderson. I am going to be reading Mistborn Secret History. This is a novella that, based on my list of how to read Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, which you can read the Cosmere however you want, but this is just a recommendation list that I found on the internet. And so far, I have really enjoyed it. So I have to read The Secret History of Mistborn before I read the final book in Mistborn Era 2. So I'm going to read Mistborn Secret History and then go straight into the fourth and final book in the Mistborn Era 2, The Lost Metal. And so I am very excited to read this. This is supposed to have, I guess, a lot more Easter eggs and really bring in that Cosmere overlap, is from what I have heard. So very, very excited to finally finish Mistborn Era 2. Then I'm going to finally pick up Brimestone by Callie Hart. I have been pushing it off just because, well, I know her next book comes out in November of this year, but I guess I've pushed it off because I didn't want to wait a whole year. So if I read this in Q1, I don't have to wait as long to then get back into this world. And to be quite honest, I might even reread it later on this year. Quicksilver and then Brimstone, depending on how I feel and where I'm at in my reading. But definitely going to get to this one soon. Then I'm going to read The Robin on the Oak Throne. This is the second book in K.A. Linde's series. I read the first book, which is the Wren in the Holly Library, and I really enjoyed it. I actually read that on Kindle first. I'm excited to kind of see where this book takes us, because the ending of the first one, I liked it. And to be quite honest, it probably could have been a standalone, but it did have that slight edge to where there could be a continuation, and this is what it is. And I guess there's a third one coming out this year, I believe, as well. So definitely want to get back into this world and see what happens. Then I'm going to read another nonfiction. I'm going to try to read 2 nonfictions this quarter. This one is decently long, but it's also big. So we'll kind of see or whatever. It kind of looks like a small textbook, but it's the Vaccine Friendly Plan. I, again, want to just try to gather as much information as possible so that way I can make educated decisions for when I have a family. So this is by Paul Thomas, and he wrote another book a few years later after this, and I have that as well, which will most likely be on my Q2 TBR, but I will tell you what that book is when I do my Q2 TBR then. But yeah, so I'm excited to learn as always, and this will be my next nonfiction book that I read. Then I'm gonna dive back into the world of A Discovery of Witches, and this is the second book, and it's called Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. So this one, to be quite honest, I already have watched season 1, and I really have one episode left of season 2. I just haven't watched it yet. So I have an idea of like what this book is about, and so I think that's why I've decided to stop watching the series. So I'm gonna read this, and then I'll finish the last episode, and then I plan to read the third book in Q2, and so what I'll do is I'll read the third book, and then I will watch the third season, just because I read the first book and it took me a while, and I think it was just because I already knew what happened. So I used to not be like that. I could watch a series and then read the book, but for some reason, because I already knew what was going on, it took me forever to read it. So I'm hoping that this doesn't take me super, super long to get through. And then, yeah, but this is really, really good. At least the first book was. Obviously I haven't read the second book yet. But I'm very excited to see what happens with Diana and Matthew and their adventure. Then I'm going to pick up R.F. Kuang's new one, Katabasis. And this is basically 2 college students go into the depths of hell to, I don't know if it's to save their professor, but they need his recommendation letter. So this should be a really good time. I'm excited to read it. I'm excited. I love R.F. Kuang's writing. So just to kind of see where she goes with this, I'm super excited about. Plus, I mean, I absolutely love the cover and I love the sprayed edges. So definitely excited to get into this. Then guys, it's been way too long, and I need to get back into it. Especially because I think, hopefully the last book. I just got that one a few months ago, but it is none other than A Soul of Ash and Blood in Jennifer L. Armentrout's A Blood and Ash series. This is the 5th book. So it's been several years since I've read the last one, and I'm pretty sure I remember what's going on. I really don't want to have to go back and reread this whole series, because these are very long books. I mean, they're each 600-ish pages. So I'm pretty positive I know what's going on. So I'm hoping that when I start reading this, it'll just click right back into my brain of where we left off in the last one. So I am definitely excited to finally get back into this series and hopefully finish this series this year, so that way I can start a different series of hers that I have on my shelf as well. And the last book on my Q1 TBR is A Curse Carved in Bone, and that is the second book in the Saga of the Unfated by Danielle L. Jensen. I really enjoyed the first book, and it started out slightly slow for me, but then it picked up and the angst was there and all that stuff. And so now how the last one ended, I'm intrigued to know like where this goes, especially since we learned a little bit more about the main character. So yeah, I'm super excited to get into this one. I don't know if there's another one coming out. I'm going to assume it's a trilogy, but I could be wrong because I mean it says book 2. I don't know, but I also haven't looked it up to see if there's a book 3 yet, and I guess I'll find out when I read the ending of this if she leaves it open for a book 3 or not. So, but we'll see. That is my Q1 TBR. Hopefully I can get through all of them and then I can make my Q2 TBR and get through those. But let me know down below some of the books that you plan to read in the first 3 months of the year. I would absolutely love to know. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust.